Yes. Double trouble in the clubhouse.
What's up, ZBrush friends?
What were you just drinking there? Was that coffee? Is that your...
Yeah, with my home state, the great state of Michigan right there.
Great state. Wait, that doesn't really look much like a Michigan.
Mom sends me one of these
there
every
it is.
year.
I see it now. I see it. Is that a changing mug where it changes as the coffee's hot?
No, I wish, because it's pink. It's
yeah.
the color of my soul.
Yeah, on this it looks like it's got a little border, so I thought.
Oh yeah, because you got like the little
Yeah. How many of those do you have a day, you think?
Actually, I've cut down my coffee significantly in the last couple of years. So this is the first cup I've had in maybe 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
It's Saturday, so I need a little booster.
A little pick me up.
I just rolled out of bed, and we're gonna stream some ZBrush today.
I love it. All right, so this is our first Clubhouse episode 1 mashups. In a minute here, I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Solomon Blair, and he's going to explain to you guys kind of what him and I are doing today. So first, I just want to make sure everyone can hear us fine and obviously see our screen. I can see that you guys should be able to see our screen fine. But as far as audio goes, I want to make sure we're good. Saul, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, everybody just let us know if you have any issues or if it's too loud, too low, all that good stuff. I'll try and keep my mic close to my face. Digital Plankton said double vision.
All good.
It was good.
Yeah. So this is fun, people. We're going to be trying this. This is always our first one as an experiment. We're going to call these streams when there's more than one of us streaming at a time to actually have a Clubhouse. So that's why we're calling these segments Clubhouse, because we're just hanging out. We're going to sculpt. We got a theme for you guys. I see there's already a question coming through from Walter. He's new and he wants to hollow out a sculpt for printing. Oh boy. Either one of us can take that, I guess.
Walter, I'm going to pass you a link in ZBrush Central. I did a stream on this not too long ago making a Mandalorian helmet, and I'll send this to you. This is the whole thread. I'll pull this thing up real fast so you can see on my screen. So I'm making a helmet,
hold on, I gotta switch to your screen.
You're sorry. I forgot that we have to do all these extra controls here.
Yeah, you're jumping. Hold on, now we're gonna show Solomon's screen. Okay,
let's just get going.
let's just hop into this. Okay, your screen's up.
Okay, so just real quick, I'll just show this to you briefly. It was creating the helmet, and I went through shelling process using Dynamesh to do it, and then setting up for 3D print keys. So this whole stream you'll see in the link that I just posted in the thread. That's all there if you want to check that out. And if you have any further questions, Paul and I stream regularly, so we can talk about that later for sure.
Digital Plankton, what time is it for you? You just woke up in time today? What time is it there? Where are you? Now I'm intrigued. All right, Saul, you go ahead now.
Well, then, yeah, so
go ahead.
Since Paul started streaming for us last week, we decided to try and enhance this idea further, jump in and collaborate together. And we were trying to figure out what to do. This is something that I do in my streams regularly called ZBrush Mashups, and we wanted to make this a team effort. So we both collectively work on something. So we pick 2 random topics and we make it. Now we're going to send you guys, you'll be getting in the chat a, what do you call it, a straw poll. And you can pick for the future streams, you can pick the topics that are going to be covered in the next streams. This one in particular, Paul and I had a whole list that if any of you guys watched my regular streams a while back, I was asking people to give me ideas on what to mash up. So I'll send you guys a quick, we'll just pull this one up. My current one that I'm doing in my stream is Super Mario World and Blade Runner. So that's like the one I've been working on for way too long, but I'm slowly making my way through all these assets. So taking this concept, I'll paste this here in the chat as well. We wanted to do something new, and Care Bears was in the list, and Paul was really excited about Care Bears.
Yes! Why would you not?
And I was excited too. I was like, okay, what do we do with Care Bears? And I think I was like, we'll figure it out. So I started making a Care Bear, and I was thinking we were going to do Care Bears and mech. That was going to be the thing. And I was thinking, okay, I'll make it like Men in Black, where his face opens up, and then inside I'm going to do Grumpy Bear, and inside is going to be somebody grumpy driving the Care Bear. So that was the idea. And then Paul goes, I think you said something along the lines of it could be like Blaster Master.
Yeah, Master Blaster.
Master Blaster from Mad Max. And I was like, oh, yeah. So we just decided Mad Max would be the theme. So today we're going to be doing a mashup between Care Bears and the Mad Max universe. So Paul and I both did our best to at least come prepared with some assets. I made just a quick Grumpy Bear as a starter, and Paul's got, which one are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing share bear. Wait, I always
Cheer
forget
Bear.
now. Hold on.
I mean, you are the master sharer.
Cheer bear,
so-
cheer bear, cheer bear,
Cheer Bear.
cheer bear is what I'm doing.
Nice. So yeah, we're gonna get started here in a minute. If you guys have any suggestions for ideas that we could mash up, feel free to throw that in the chat. We'll go through that afterwards. If you take a look at the list, I think the poll has the poll gone out? I don't see it in the chat.
Not yet, but I'm showing the poll now in the stream right now, so you guys can see the poll. So there'll be a link. It's coming every 10 minutes in this chat. So that will get you guys. You guys will go and vote, and then the top 2 will be the next mashup. So there you go. There's the straw poll that was put together. So you'll have a link coming through in the chat for this.
Yeah, so topics like that, feel free to suggest, and we will make this a voting thing for the next time. So you guys get to pick what we end up doing. And the next stream that we do, if you guys are enjoying this, we're going to bring in more Pixologic developers, Dice K, Joseph, and more, and try and make this as fun and creative as possible. And one quick thing I saw in the chat, some people were mentioning that the audio is a bit choppy. There's, as of right now, from our understanding, this is the actual service that we're using to do 2 streams at once. And I don't know if there's much that we can do about this. We're going to do our best to make this work as smoothly as possible, but we may not be able to control that. So we apologize for that if that's an issue. All right, man. Paul, you want to get started here?
Yeah. Well, somebody wants your glove too.
This. Oh, well, this guy you can go to. Where's the?
Yeah,
there
you go.
It's actually on the glove. It's backwards though. Artistglove.com. So artistglove.com. I'll put that in there. We did a collaboration with them. They actually went and made some ZBrush ones. They have different designs as well that you can get your hands on. Which this thing, I never used to use these, and this is a total game changer.
Randy Dice, what's going on? I see you there. So welcome everybody. So you can see we got our Care Bears up. Mine seems to be fat Care Bear compared to yours.
So can I show off my I did a quick design the other night of kind of what I wanted to do. So I started off, I was thinking, okay, I like the idea of making a grumpy bear. That seems fun. And I was thinking, okay, what character, when we decided on Mad Max, what character is the grumpiest in the Mad Max universe? And the one that I came up with was Immortan Joe, so I started going through and actually concepting out what would be a stylized version of Immortan Joe's little outfit, and then actually creating his custom little mask here. And so this is about, a few hours of just kind of going through and sculpting. I'm sure doing in one stream today, Paul and I won't be able to get through everything, but we're going to go through and do as much as we can. So if you guys have questions about any of these things, this is what we're here for. So feel free to stop us, ask us to show something off. Otherwise, if you don't care and you just want to see us work, then we can just do our thing and we'll just chat it up and start sculpting and modeling.
Yeah. And then as you guys can see, we're going to be sharing both screens at the same time. So you'll be able to watch both of us work at the same time. And then him and I will be talking to each other the entire time. Making fun of each other in the sense what I mean by that. It's all making fun of me. Okay, so there you have it. I want to change mine up. I was going to do like the hand. Hi, look at me.
I love that.
Yeah, but I kind of want to chop the arms off. Mine needs some love, I think.
Well,
still.
In all fairness, you didn't have nearly as much time to go through and figure this stuff out as I did. So. Well, it's got kids. I'm just a single guy, I got nothing but time.
Nothing but time.
All right.
You have kids. I'm a kid too. So I'm a big kid.
That's true.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, since you guys seen what's all here, I'm going to add my Care Bear to this. So this is the one I'm doing. So let me add that. Yay! So that's kind of why I went with the hands, because it's like cheer bear, like hug me, hug me. And it's a girl as well, and there's a reason why I'm also picked a girl, and it's because I'm gonna go with, for me, one of the big movies is Thunderdome. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Classic reference, though.
There you go. So I'm gonna do myself a little kind of inspirational Tina Turner.
I love
So
it.
I'm going this route. So he's doing the newer Mad Max Fury Road, which I think it took him like 10 years to make that movie.
Really 10 years?
Oh, I know that they were going to shoot it in Australia at a point, and then that Australia ran with and they had a ton of fires or something like that, so they couldn't do it. And that's why it got pushed somewhere else, right? They just weren't able to do it. So
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right, I'm gonna start throwing some color on it just to show that this is a female. And I went with pink too because darn it, my daughter likes pink. So, and of course she came in. She's like, "Dad, can I have that printed?" I'm like, "I should have never printed anything for her."
You really opened up like a can of worms with that one, huh?
I opened up like a Grand Canyon of worms. Okay, because now every time she comes here and she goes, "All right, can you print that for me?" I'm gonna color it. I'm like, "Oh Lord, what have I done?"
She's gonna be printing so quickly. You're gonna be making all of her toys probably.
Yeah. Hey, I just saw a question too. Was someone asking about they just bought ZBrush? Well, welcome to the family, number one. And they're trying to learn the basics. Solomon did a really good kind of walk you through making like a shark dude. I would recommend that to start from there. For sure.
Here, I'll
find that link?
Yep.
You get that link. I'm gonna start coloring up my bear. Oh yeah, get that pink. I might even do mine. Maybe you know what? I might go the toon route since it's like Care Bears and toony.
Yeah,
totally. I might, we'll change it up a little bit. I might do that. I think I'm gonna go that now that I've seen the image. That's how we roll, people. Right on the whim. Happy little mistakes. That's what we're doing here, people. So I'm going to select a different material here, and let's just go ahead and fill it with everything. Yeah. Okay, so you got the link there?
Working on it. I am
working on it, people. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Oh, this should be in digital sculpting, I guess.
It's in the getting started part. If that's what you're looking for, if I remember right.
I can't remember which section it was in.
Getting started.
Getting started. There we go.
Now you've got it.
Beginner series posted in the chat. Creating Shark Boy.
Just like that. Answered.
So I got to ask you, Paul, for me, like when I get started on something like this, I find myself fitting so much with like the clean base mesh for as long as I possibly can before I start doing accessories. So I can get a good what. What's like your biggest hurdle when you're getting started with design?
I that's a great question because I do kind of the same thing, right? But I have found that the fiddling around tends to get me trapped in a hole, or as I like to say, since we're doing Care Bears, no one puts me in the corner with baby. Okay, Patrick Swayze can't come and save me right now. He's not alive anymore.
Is that a Care Bear? No one puts.
No. It's because Dirty Dancing 80s. I'm staying in the 80s. You stay in your 90s. I'll stay in my 80s. Okay, or actually, you're in the 2000s. I'm in the 80s because I've got Thunderdome.
Yeah, well, you're permanently in the 80s, my friend.
I can't get enough. I know. I'm sure it's gotta be annoying for you guys now that work at Pixologic because I don't know how my wife hasn't slapped me in the face and said, "Okay, all right, already." And I feel for my daughter because I think she's gonna have a problem with her friends because she's gonna want to listen to the 80s, and her friends are gonna be like, "What is this? What are we?"
So I just randomly have been watching all the Back to the Futures on Netflix. And I love how basically your household reminds me of Marty McFly's household in Back to the Future 2, where it's just like they idolize the 80s because it's like it's so far gone in the 2015s. Isn't that it? 2015 is the future in Back to the Future 2?
No. It just passed. It was Back to the Future 2 is what year? What? No, it was like 2019.
2019.
I think it's 2019 if I remember right.
Like, that's basically your household permanently.
Yeah, well, my wife has embraced it, which I appreciate. She will throw on the 80s, and a lot of times she's like, "You look a little down." She does the old throw on the 80s for him.
That's awesome. She knows you too well, man.
station from iHeartRadio.
My Alexa playing these right now. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop.
Alexa, play Back to the Future.
It was 2015. Are you sure, Yuri? I thought it was.
I couldn't find any enabled video skills.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, your Reeves backing me up on this one.
Alexa app to manage your video skills.
Sorry.
Okay. I don't remember, but whatever. Let's make this tongue a different color here.
It's good. I always
So to your question, this is a great question because what I found to your question, I have stopped as much as I can in the fiddling phase, just because I got in a hole. That's why I'm saying the stupid baby thing. I would get myself in a hole, and then I'm just sitting there fiddling, and nothing's changing, right? So it wasn't worth all that extra work. I was just creating more problems for myself, in essence.
Yeah.
So I've found now, for me, a good way of looking at, okay, I'm at a point where, like this Care Bear, it's not perfect right now, but I moved on and I got at least the whole Care Bear. And I think the most important thing sculpturally is you should be touching every part of your sculpt before you really even move on. So I found a rhythm for myself, which is hard, I think, for all of us, that, okay, it's at a point where it at least looks like the Care Bear, and not just move on. Learn to just move on. And then it'll start coming through when you put more and more of it. Like in my stream yesterday, I went a lot through my process actually with my gremlin. And I'm just sculpting that entire gremlin inside my stream and literally going through, okay, here's my next step, here's my next process, so forth and so on, right?
Yeah.
So to your question, that's what I've started to do. I've gone, okay, I need to let this go. I need to move on.
Totally.
So I think that's crucial. And I think you got to stop messing. And I call that dirtying up the sculpt or mucking up the sculpt. And in most cases, for me too, when I got in a roadblock where I'm sure we've all been there, you're sculpting for like an hour or two and you're like, okay, it looks nothing's changed. I found for me, okay, just walk away then. Drop the pen, take a break, go watch a movie or go do something, or look at it the next day and you'll have new, fresh eyes. It's just like this guy, this one I'm looking at. I still want to change so many things on this. And I don't know, maybe I will, because my daughter will convince me to.
She's going to give some creative input.
Yeah, that, and she'll want to. Yeah, she wanted to do something. She's like, "Oh, can I make that?" I'm like, "Well, I love you, baby, but I gotta get this done. At least have something that looks like I know what the heck I'm talking about."
She's going to be your creative director someday.
Oh boy, is she ever. She already is. Yeah.
Daddy, I don't like that color scheme. You need to change it.
Let's be honest.
That's too great. No, but yeah, I think that's really good advice. I kind of have come to that same conclusion. Like, I'll spend a lot of time on the base forms and shapes, like even just trying to get to the base body of this character I have. I never stick in one area for too long, and I find that if I just keep working on other stuff, even if something else isn't perfect, you kind of fill in the gaps as you go. But if you get too stuck on one thing, like the goal is to not get burned out on the piece, right? And if I get burned out on the thing and I'm not having fun making it, then I have less creative ideas that come out in the process. So if I get stuck on one thing for too long, then I'm kind of just shooting myself in the foot,
Yeah, Randy, to your question, technically you can do what you're asking. You can actually use GoZ Photoshop. You could also use old school Projection Master. Actually will allow you to paint to a texture map. But technically I can do that. But as far as down the road, unfortunately, we can never really discuss development. Because while we're in development, there's a lot going on, and we sometimes go for a little fun ride with our development. So
it's true.
Things change. So I got a question for you. So let's say if someone came to you and said, "Okay, I'm learning ZBrush. What 5 features would you say are like, look, okay, you got to spend some time and just understand these 5 features." Obviously, everyone needs, okay, navigation. Here's 4 brushes, and you can sculpt anything organically. You're off and running.
Yeah.
But when you start, you as a person who knows ZBrush really well, what do you say then? Okay, these 5 though changed my life, and made things easier for me as an artist.
Man, that's a loaded question. Okay, like can a brush count?
Sure, absolutely, a brush can count 100%.
ZBrush, I'd say number one for me personally, it is, I think maybe because I'm a little bit more traditional in the lineage of topology and surfaces, but learning how to manipulate clean topology that is subdivided. So ZRemesher would be one. I think that boils down to just ZRemesher. Understanding why you ZRemesh, when to ZRemesh, I think is really important, because Dynamesh, I'd say number two. Those two are kind of like, if I'm teaching anything, I'm always starting teaching just using Dynamesh, and then I go into ZRemesher later. It's a strange thing because I remember the days when something like ZRemesher didn't exist, and you had to build all of your base meshes with clean topology, bring it into ZBrush and sculpt it, right? And you just subdivide it and sculpt it. And that process alone taught me how to understand just how to work the forms at the low levels and then do the details at the high, and not do too much detailing at the beginning, like the sort of general process. So like understanding Dynamesh and ZRemesher, I think, is for me the biggest one. But sculpturally speaking, I think the move brush, honestly, is, I know that it's very simple, but for me, like just doing like this dude, like just getting this guy, and I'm not even, you guys tell me if it's okay, but I mean, even like 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't be able to do this as quickly as I did, but just getting like nice clean silhouette, like if you just throw an outline on there, getting nice, sort of curves happening, and they're not even quite there yet. But this for me was all just move brush and understanding just basic primitive shapes and just moving stuff around to get it in the right place before you start throwing stuff on top of it. For me, that would be the biggest one. Sculpting brushes, like everything else, I think move brushes is essential, and then everything else comes after that for me. But it always depends on what kind of stuff you do, because if you're the kind of person that, like, I don't know, say you're like a Joe Mena who makes coins, or you're somebody who like works on like engravings, like Thomas Wittelsbach who does jewelry, he's not doing necessarily as much moving around as he is like sculpting on a singular surface. So I say I take that with a grain of salt. But I think the majority of people are making characters and doing a lot of like large scale movements. So I think that's why that's important. And after that, Z Modeler. I think Z Modeler is huge. And if you watch my streams, I see Yuri Newman's in here, so he's probably got a lot to say about that. But I think it's essential, which is really just boils down to understanding polygon modeling. That's, to me, is like such a powerful tool that goes so far and works in pretty much every project in every situation. So that's 3.
Yeah, don't feel obligated to go to 5. If you don't feel it, right?
No, I like it. I just I don't know. I've never like categorized. This is like, to me, this is like asking me the question, like, what's your top 5 favorite movies?
Well, that's ridiculous. No, now you're striking a nerve with me, okay? Because I could definitely do that, 100%. Yeah. No ifs, ands, or buts. Chris, we'll come to your question about how to center something in the world. If you want, there's multiple ways to do it. However, there's also local symmetry has abilities to do things. So we can show you that, but in a second here, one of us can show you that for sure.
I'll come back to my last 2. I got to think about those.
Okay, go up. You're going to come back to your last 2? All right.
Yep.
I have to agree with pretty much a lot what you said. Like, Dynamesh for me, ZRemeshers for me is a big one. Big change in workflow for me. Z Modeler was a big one for me because I love doing hard surface stuff. So having that ability to do some quick box modeling stuff and things like that, really. And honestly, I always put in the top 5 polygroups.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I take polygroups.
Every single person should understand polygroups and how they work. Period.
That's a great one. And because you said polygroups, I figured out my 5th. My 5th is, if anybody watches my streams, I think I use it in every single project that I ever make or work with. Panel loops. I use panel loops with so much. In terms of ZBrush features, I think panel loops is one of the most powerful things in ZBrush.
There's so many things you can do with panel loops. It's crazy. Yeah. It's insane. Well, how many things that you can do in panel loops? Really?
I mean, we use it for all kinds of things. I mean, I'm using right now, I'm using extract to go through and make some of these parts because they're simple. But in terms of like getting like nice clean beveled edges and things like that, if you watch any of my other streams, that ZBrush Mashups link I posted earlier, I'm using it for making vehicles. I'm using it to make armor and plating and like hybrids between organic and hard surfaces. It's just, it's I think it's the most, it allows you to let go of the traditional modeling techniques of like edge looping and polygon modeling and actually make something organically like in the ZBrush way, and then clean it up and give it extra little details on top of that.
ZBrush way.
The ZBrush way. I saw somebody mention about comments, or there somebody was asking about comments for the new Unreal stuff. I would just say we wouldn't be able to talk about anything development related, but in terms of what they just demoed a few days ago, it was extremely impressive. Would you say?
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool for a lot of ZBrush artists to mess with that, being that you can just plop in your polygons, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, there's going to be a lot of experimenting with that. And there's a lot of other things you need to do in a game engine to do things like that.
Sure. Yes.
But it is what it is, right? So
I think the greatest thing that offers for us is basically what ZBrush has already been able to do for quite a long time, is go into the tens of millions and hundreds of millions of polygons and achieve this high level of detail. Now we're getting to a place where all platforms are beginning to be able to hold those details in the surfaces, right? They're able to repurpose that stuff and actually, hold, as I saw somebody posted in a Twitter post, it's like billions and billions and billions and billions of polygons. Like, it's truly impressive what they're able to do with maintaining that geometry now.
Yeah. I'm gonna color these eyes real quick, and then I'm gonna show that person the question for the centering.
Do your thing.
I'm just living here. Ain't no sunshine when I don't know what I'm saying.
Super, you're asking about Topo Gun 3. We wouldn't be able to say. I mean, I haven't used Topo Gun 3, but I'm not necessarily doing topology in those ways these days. I'm using ZRemesher for just about everything. But I understand the need.
That's the beauty of doing 3D printing. You don't have to worry about topology. It's glorious. Glorious. I'm gonna give her some blue eyes, I think. Yeah, let's give her some blue eyes. There.
This guy has these tubes that shoot into his little mouthpiece that are just so wild.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go full screen for a moment here on me, just so you know, Saul, so that way they can see what I'm doing in here. Okay, so your question for things about in the center of the world, just so when you do have something actually off-centered, number one, so I'm just grabbing a simple shape just so you can see visually that this is sitting somewhere else in the world, right? And then you're working symmetrical like this. Obviously, you guys can see my little red dot is way over on the other side. So the first thing I just want to make sure you're aware of is local symmetry. So that's this button right here. So I'll throw on my magnifier, bam, right there. And then you can click that. And then now you'll see that I can sculpt even though it's somewhere else in the world. Okay? So this is a way that even if something's not at the center of the world, you can still work on this. And this will work with mirror and welding too. Mirror and weld will pay attention to local symmetry. So what I mean by that is when you normally do a mirror and weld, you're going to get the opposite. I'm going to get another object, right? If you have local symmetry on, and let's turn off symmetry and I do something like this, and I go to mirror and weld, right? I get that now. So you can actually use this local symmetry for sculpting ability and also for things like mirror and welding, of course. Now, I prefer, if I'm going to try and snap something to the center, I prefer using the old school way because obviously you want the object to go back where it was if this is what you're looking for. I own the transform and I do a set pivot point. So this is old school. Like, this is super old. And then you can see it move the object to the center temporarily. Okay, and then you can now work symmetrically. Even if I turn off this, right? So I can work on this thing symmetrically. And then when I'm happy with what I got, which I'm never happy with what I got, but that's the world of an artist. right? Then you can go here to transform, and then there'll be a clear pivot point. And when you click that, see it pops back into its original place. So there's that way. We're opening up in what we call now my streams, Solomon. I have a tangent thing that I do, but someone that's been watching my streams, I forget who it is. We've now phrased a new one called the tangent inception, because I just keep going down to another level and another level.
I think I actually was tuning into your stream and I saw somebody drop that in the chat.
Yeah, I got to make a graphic for that. That's a must-make graphic now.
Definitely.
So here's your position. So this is where it is in space. So you could also just write those values down and then zero it out. And then when you're done moving, you can go put your values back in and it'll plop back into place. So you could do that as well. I saw someone mention the gizmo. You could do that. And then you can center this. And this little home button will recenter the gizmo to the center of the world, which is going to bring the mesh as well. But you got to understand that's actually a physical movement in space. Right, so that's why for me, I prefer using the set pivot and clear pivot. And yesterday, I actually also went through posable symmetry at the very end of my stream. So that'd be another one. Cool. All right. So back to my Care Bear.
I just I'll field another question. I saw somebody was asking about a belt. See if I can find that question. Gecko is asking, "Hi, dudes. So with creating, say, a belt using extract, would there be another way outside of extract?" That's a good question. There's there's a lot of different ways that you could do it.
Here, I'll make you full screen. You're full screen now.
Perfect. That'll be great. I might go through and make one really quick because one thing I noticed with this design here is, let me go back to here's my first test build. This guy. So he's got this little gun belt here, and you'll see if you're watching me make this stuff, I'm doing a lot of extracts that I'll eventually remesh or remesh or repurpose once I get those pieces done. The belt, something like that, I would probably do this a different way instead of doing extract, because this is so layered. Like, it's got all these extra loops and all these extra parts. This to me is something I would personally do with probably just polygon modeling, just use ZModeler. But before even, actually, maybe we could do like a combination of ZModeler, insert curve brushes. And to show you kind of what I mean, if you haven't used an insert curve brush, here's one that I made forever ago that I've kind of just kept around. You can simply just go ahead and like draw this thing and you get an insert curve. So you can go in and now you get this piece. So the insert curve is great for a lot of different things, especially like if I want to do the tubes. I'm going to get to that here eventually. Making those tubes, insert curve is the way to go for stuff like that. But for this belt here, what you could do is, you could take this dude and we could go down to, say, his belly, solo out this up till this stuff hasn't been remeshed together. But I could go in. Oops, let's go get rid of those lower subdivisions and start drawing this thing around. Right, so this is one way to do it. I don't know if have you heard of this, Gecko? If you're still there, I'm curious if you've actually seen insert curve brushes. Because if not, I can talk about how to build an insert curve brush that has all the right components to make this work. But one thing that you'll see with an insert curve, you can have this thing loop all the way around. You can also, if I undo, let's go to stroke, curve functions, delete. If you start pulling this thing, you hold shift, you can complete the loop, and then you're going to go through and get this thing snapped all the way around. Okay, so you have heard of this. So this, I would say, if you at least understand the concept of how to make this is the way that I would go about it. But here's a little trick, something I like to add, just have a little extra control for this kind of stuff. For example, when you do this trick and you hold shift and it loops all the way around, when you're doing a belt, in this case, that belt needs to go up through the belt loop and then through and actually look like it's like tightened through, right? Like this piece here should be going, all the way up through here. Doing that in this technique with the curve may not necessarily be the best approach. So something I like to play around with in this area is convert that surface into something that we can actually use a deformer to move this thing around. So for example, I'll go to my final. Say I want to do it like on top of this guy here. I'll just do it on top of the little outfit. So I'll go maybe turn this off, turn off these gauntlets. Yeah, okay, so we got something to work with. Now that insert curve brush, I'm gonna go into grab a plane or something that I can draw it on top of. So I actually want to get a longer version of this thing, as if I have the full belt laid flat across any surface. So plane 3D. Now if I start drawing this and, whoops, let's go draw this, hold shift, I can get a straight line. So I can go like across this thing and draw, let's go about here. Now the smaller the draw stroke, let's say I go a little bit lower and I hold shift as I'm drawing, I'm going to get a nice clean long strip there. Now I'm just using the insert curve to actually draw the repeat parts and get a longer version of this belt. So really, if you understand the concept of these brushes, these insert curve brushes, if you take a look at the, let's go grab a mesh from brush, this is what the brush part looks like. So all you have is essentially this central component here that's being duplicated along the curve. So I'm using the insert curve to get myself a nice long belt, and I could decrease that size so I can make it a little bit longer. The size can scale up relatively once I bring it into the scene. But then if I click to delete the curve, split unmasked, now I've got this thing. So if I hold, while rotating, I hold shift, this should be 45 degrees going at the corner. Now I'm locking it to vertical, and now I've got this thing basically vertically along that world axis, and I can click home like Paul just showed, setting it to the home axis. So I'm centering it for a specific reason. Hopefully this will make sense here in a second. So then going back to my scene, I'm going to go into this little thing and insert that new piece that I just brought in, that I just made. And now I can scale this thing up. Let's rotate it here. Now let's just say like the belt loop is, I don't know why this makes sense to me, but I need it to go this way. This is the way I put my belts on. It's weird that I have to do things exactly like I do in real life, but so now I have this thing just traveling along this axis. Now, if I go in, as long as that gizmo is traveling in the direction that I want, it's aligned to the object, I can go to customize. I'm going to assign bend curve. And then I can go set the cone control. So you have X, Y, and Z. I want this to go along the Y axis of the gizmo. And by default, you'll see it should have 2 points. So you can move only 2 points. If you grab the outer cone here, this adds more points along the curve. And now what I can do is I can start, whoops, and you'll see also I was actually using this morning. So there is a symmetry setting. So this cone right here, when you hover over it, you see the text. So setting it to 1, symmetry is on, 0, symmetry is off. So with that thing off, now I'm going to go in and start moving this around. And once you start moving, I always start with a few points. I'm going to click and drag to add a couple more. And I can start by, I'm just posing this with the bend curve deformer. And the reason why I like this as opposed to just using the insert curve, because I get more control over both. So I'm combining two features, really. I'm using insert curve to generate the mesh, and I'm using bend curve to actually go through and put this thing into place. So I'm just going to turn this off so I can only see this part. So as I move these points in space and I get this stuff aligned, then you'll see in the cone deformer, you get the blue one. So the blue one, when you click and drag, it smooths the transition. So it does change the positioning, but it does ease up those curve points. And just, I find this to be much easier to put here in place. And now, as we start to get into this part, you'll see I haven't been adding too many points. So I'm just using a few points to get the general position. But now if I click and drag and add a couple more, now I got a lot of points along the space. Now what I can do is I can start to put this thing through. Let's just zoom out here and do a little smoothing. Make sure I don't write curve points here. So this one. Oops, there we go. So I'm basically able to kind of go through and overlap these parts much better. And then let's go in and do just a little bit more smoothing. Soften up that transition. And actually, if I move this, you'll see as you stretch these things out, you can kind of go through and add extra spaces. The more points you have on that curve, the smoothing will have it'll still have its natural effect. However, it won't lose as much of its position because the curve points themselves are maintaining the position of where this stuff is. Then I can go through, do a little smooth, and when I'm done, I can click accept. And now I got this thing almost in place. Now I've got polygrips on this object. So we could go do a little auto group. I can mask this thing off. Gizmo, maybe just stretch this out. Realign this. And then I could go through and fix some of these little adjustments. So if I wanted to make this thing actually travel through, I'd probably just go through and grab this whole shell, mask it, push this stuff down, just start fixing that thing so it looks like it's traveling through that surface. All right, so that would be in a quick sort of demonstration. That would probably be the way that I would go about it. That way I have a nice clean piece. And then what I love about this is that I have clean topology. So if I want to go do something to this, as opposed to doing it the extract way, extract is quick and easy. This takes a little bit more time, but what you get is now if I wanted to go in and make some changes to this, I could go in and do, say, insert, some edge loops here. We could go delete polygons, and we could do a bridge, say 2 holes, and I could bridge this to start making like extra loops and modeling on top of this thing. Right, so I can do other stuff to this very quickly, and this is why ZModeler is in one of my top 5 features, because I could do stuff like this pretty easily. So that's a little long-winded, but hopefully that kind of goes through and gives you some ideas. If you haven't tried that kind of stuff before, that would be my first suggestion. Hey, congrats. We've received 100 messages on the stream today, Paul.
Whoa. I like it. I see the other question coming through also about a person about exploding mesh when projecting. Well, that's all really about your settings. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think this one setting is really moving up real fast for me in the projection. It's the new project history. I actually don't use project all anymore. I really, for the most part, a lot of times now use the project history. But your settings that you need to put here are important, right? So look at this projection as like if you were fishing and you're on Solomon's Lakes in Michigan and you're at the top of the lake, right? And then there's the big fish down lower, and then there's smaller fish at the top. So obviously, if you want to get the big fish, you got to have a bigger fishing line. Okay, so the problem though in the world of CG is if we're having something like this where we've got a point where they're missing in this surface in here, right? So this surface would be able to see this surface on the top, and vice versa. This surface on the top will start seeing this surface on the bottom. So if you cast out too far, then it sees those, and that's why you might get some spiking in there. So what I recommend is storing a morph target, and then using what I really love, why I like the project history. It's pretty awesome. Why I like it and why I found myself using it so much. And I definitely will be using it in my Gremlin project. I know that much. That's good. That's good. It's going to happen. So let me load fast. Yeah. What were you saying? Okay, so what I like about it, if we see something like this dog real quick, and then I dynamesh this, right? We've got a dynamesh now mesh. And then when I start sculpting, here, I'll switch to a different material. I start sculpting, right? You start doing this, you start dynameshing, you start doing this, dynameshing, and then you're just going everywhere on the dog, right? You're dynameshing. You might even be one of those you like to live in the dynamesh world forever, which is not me. I don't like to live in the dynamesh world forever. So there's a point where I come out of dynamesh mode. Okay, but with that said, when I have topological, I think on still, I was playing with my brush. Auto masking. Okay, good. Right. So with that said, so we're working on this dog. Number one, the topology isn't always going to be the greatest, especially if we're going to do. If we go now with the dynamesh, right? You're getting stuff like this, right? And then as you're building it up, you're changing your surface and you're re-dynameshing. And like I said, you might divide up, and then now you're just going to get more details in your model here, right? So I'm then going to be at the point now where, hey, I want to get a new mesh that's clean and I want to use the ZRemesher. There's all this history being restored, right? So obviously one of the goals of the ZRemesher is to reduce your polygon count and keep it quadded as much as possible and follow the flow, okay? So when you remesh this, right, it's adding that into the undo history, okay? So this is why I like this feature. Now that we've added in this version, the abilities with the extractor brushes and the history brush, it added this little feature, which I think is a hidden, super powerful feature. Because now you see I've lost a lot of the sculpt in here, right? So in the projection, right, your distance is in essence your fishing line, okay? And your mean is just your averaging, and then you have blurring, okay? And there's the reproject higher subdiv, which sometimes can be very nice. I can try and show that really fast. So what I do now is divide up, right, just to get a little bit more in this, right? Then I come back here and go to the part where there's the sculpt, hold the control key. So I'm up here in my undo history right here, okay? Hold the control key and click on that. And then now I cycle through back my undos, right? And you can see now the project higher, or in essence, the project history is now available. And when I click this, ZBrush is only looking at like what the history was. So it makes your projection cleaner because it doesn't need necessarily to do as much projection through here. It's really all in here where all the projections have got to come through. So even if I keep adding another subdivision level, I can still keep reprojecting that history because that history point's still there. So I can keep going back and grabbing that details. And I've even changed topology, right? That one mark I had up here was actually the Dynamesh. And now this orange mark is now actually the Z-sphered with subdivision levels. So I really like to use that, but what I'd also recommend is at that level, make morph targets. So what I also normally do is I go up once subdivision level and then I do a projection. And then I go up another sub level and do a projection. Instead of trying to go just divide up all the way and I'll just tell ZBrush to try and match this new mesh with the old mesh, right? Your source target is the old mesh, right? So that's a lot of more movement, where if you're just doing a little increments at a time, you'll get way less of what you're talking about with little spikes. Because then the projections don't have to travel so far, so which means also you don't need to turn that distance up so far. So you'll have less of what I'm talking about here, where this surface is not going to necessarily see this surface as much, right? And then of course storing a morph target will help through here. Okay, and then the last one, I don't know if I can load it because I might have to. Let me quick save my Care Bear here.
Don't forget to save.
She cares. Okay, so the project ability that you have in here is not just those two options, the project all and project history, but there's also a project shell, and this could be really handy. So we have in here. Let me see where's those mannequins. Here they are. Okay, here's the running dog. Okay, so I've got this running dog mannequin, right? When I hit A, this is the mesh I get, right? So I really like the form of this dog. I like the silhouette I'm getting of the dog, right? Looking at my silhouette window. It's got some volume in there, okay? I'm going to duplicate this dog just so that we have two subtools, okay? And then this dog, I'm gonna undo the A, okay? And let's color this one like a different color. Let's make this one red so you will visually be able to see what I'm doing, okay? And so we've got subtool number one. Let's say that's my good sculpt, the sculpt that now I want to do different. So I'm going to say this dog, because it was done with mannequins, okay, it was actually done with Z-spheres. So I'm going to turn this off and let's add some density to this and let's preview this. And what you get is like a dog like that, right? So it's nice and smooth, okay, in here. So I'll color it red again so you can see. So you got a nice smooth dog, right? And here it would be good to make it a skin actually, just so that I'll be working the same workflow that you would be working in. Okay, so now we've got a red dog. That's my clean, divided up mesh. And then the gray dog is hey, that's the sculpt I actually want to capture. So here's what your projection shell is going to be able to allow us to do. So I'm on the red dog. So I'm just going to pull on this slider until I see nothing but red. And when I see nothing but red, I let go, and you see it snaps back. And so now the only thing you're seeing back to what you were. But you'll notice once I've done that, the inner button now turns on. So what this does is actually limits the projections. So the projection now is only going to project inward. It's not going to do any projection outward. So in essence, there's only half the projection power happening. But what it's doing is it's using from the projection shell where I inflated that as its go point, not the point we're looking at right now. So of course, even if I throw this distance up and I'm going to say no color and I do a project all, right? Boom, there you go. I'm done. There, now I got a dog. That's the red one, right? That matches the gray one perfectly. So a little fun fact for you there. That's how I would go about doing some projection stuff as well. Hopefully that helps narrow down some things for you. Let me reload my camera.
Pro 4210 said 4210 rather. Sorry, I make sure I get that right. He said Solomon Blair and Paul Gaboury stream sandwich. Right. No,
only ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, I was gonna say no mayo.
Oh yeah, I love a good deli sandwich. I'm a big fan of a good deli sandwich for sure.
Yeah, we haven't. What was the place we used to go to for lunch? It's all about the bread.
Oh yeah. I've never been a huge fan of that place. It's good, but I've never been like a crazy huge fan of that place. But I just think it's more expensive for the food.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But I do love a good deli sandwich for sure. I'm a big fan of that, something like that.
Deli meats.
The last projection thing I did was called, here, I'll show you again in the UI. And I'll turn on my magnifier since you guys can see the magnifier. So it's projection shell. Can you guys see it when it's double screen, or do you need me to go to single screen? You can't unwrap UVs with 13 million polygons.
Oh yeah, that's too dense.
We have a polygon limit for UVing with the UV master. It only can do about 100,000 polygons. That's way too dense to do UVs. Well, I'm assuming then maybe you're doing scan data, because in a pipeline you wouldn't want to be UVing 15 million in any pipeline, not film or game.
Oh, wait, what was I using? I was using the old.
Oh, you're lost now?
Yeah, it's like I figure out which bolts I was using, the flatheads. Like,
what am I doing?
Where am I? What day is it?
Are we in ZBrush or are we in Microsoft Word? I'm so confused.
So I was trying to figure out ideas for this particular this shape here, since this dude's got these really crazy freaky teeth, and in line with the Care Bears, the old Care Bear stare. I want to do like I don't know. I'm just looking at the color schemes. We got to throw some rainbows in here. So these are all the Care Bears. The rainbow's a pretty consistent thing. So instead of them shooting, I'm just gonna do. I was thinking about this piece being a rainbow. See if I can actually turn the old paint on. Yeah, so there's like a rainbow cover. It's a little more cute.
You always got to go for cute.
Always got to go cute. You know what's so crazy is the Immortan Joe, these tubes that he's got, these oxygen tubes.
Yeah.
Remember when we were making, let's see, which version was it that we did all of the insert brushes for our 3 or 4?
I want to say 3.
For our 3, I believe. I remember making these IMM curve brushes, and I made this hose tube. I actually remember I was watching Mad Max or looking at Mad Max reference, and I think I made this tube from the movie or from something related to the movie because it's perfect. I mean, it's exactly like this tube that he's got jammed in here.
Oh, the irony.
I know. It was all culminating to this one moment.
It happened.
It happens. It finally happened.
We knew it.
So like this piece here, if I draw these guys out, brush, fires, make sure that weld points is on. Oh wait, that's not the right one though.
Don't get lost. Don't get lost.
Pose number 1. Oh wait, did I not turn it on for this part? Nope, I didn't. There we go. Oh yeah, that's going to be the one. However, for this, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same trick I did and curve for the belt. I like that a little bit more. I also got this really grotesque and kind of crazy oxygen bag. It almost looks like, I don't know what that thing's made out of. I don't know if I want to know.
Maybe do they know? The filmmaker.
Yeah. This thing's got these little bubbly kind of fans coming out.
This is a great question from Yetkin. I don't use a custom menu for myself. It's just because I teach ZBrush so much too and so often, and I know if I get used to a custom menu, it's just now when I go into teaching, say ZBrush, it's going to throw me off for a while because a long time, and I'm going to be sitting there, and I don't use custom hotkeys, so it's really more of, for me, because I'm teaching ZBrush as well a lot. I know Solomon teaches ZBrush too a lot, but for me, in my head, and that's what we're going with, I just want to make sure I don't get lost in the weeds, per se.
I will tell you, I followed suit on that one for quite a while, but maybe a year ago, I just decided I wanted to start using my own custom UI more. I think it was because so many ZBrush users use custom UIs, I wanted to just get a feel for using it more often. Like I still have to use default with classes and teaching, but it does kind of mess me up sometimes using especially my hotkeys. That's the one that I get stuck on. Like now I assign Control-Shift-S to solo, so I can solo whenever I want. I don't like having to go over and do this all the time. And that one, I lose the ability to do visibility shrink, which I like to do grow all a lot, or grow rather, Control-Shift-X. But it's a little trade-off, you know.
I'm a big fan of the one you just brought up. I use that like all the time.
Yeah, that's a great feature.
No jokies, using it all the time. I love that selection ability. I find myself, even when I go to other programs, I'm doing it. I'm like, oh crap, I'm not in ZBrush.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
Paul, instead of wearing cheater's glasses, why don't you just requisition a 90-inch 4K screen and write it off? That's all you can do the same.
Yep. Sign me up.
Yeah, we were talking about the Unreal thing a while ago. Yes, it's good. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's just really exciting from a ZBrush user standpoint, just being able to, I don't know, it shows that the future holds a pretty good place for the high resolution assets that we're used to making that you can now actually achieve in that next gen console. And the fact that it's console is just too exciting.
Well, I know you're excited about that.
You better believe it.
Big time gamer.
Big time gamer.
I don't play games.
Yeah, well, you're smart. I call it.
It's not that I don't want to play games. Okay. I don't know how to phrase this, but I'm not going to bother.
It's research. It's market research. You know.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Now, what it is it's time away from your creative time. That's exactly what it is for me too. It's like, okay, am I gonna spend my free time away from development and teaching, making more stuff, or am I gonna jump into another sort of like space and do something different? I think it's fun to do every once in a while. I don't really spend time on games that waste too much time. I like the creative story driven games. Those are the ones I spend most of my time with.
Yeah, I think if I don't know if I would do the onlining as much. I just really like when I did do the gaming for me. Um, I liked doing that story. Like I liked going through
Yeah.
that. That was just me though.
No, absolutely. I mean, Uncharted and Naughty Dog stuff, I love so much. I mean, who doesn't? And anything in that world. Our coworker Michael was texting me the other day, and the other night he was playing.
You and Michael playing video games? What?
he's,
No.
he was playing Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas is one I never actually got into. I played Fallout 3 when I was in high school, I think, but New
I
Vegas.
will say I still to this day one of my most fun favorite games to play for me was Half-Life 2.
Oh, the new VR looks amazing.
I played that thing like no one's business for sure. When I did play video games, I was nonstop on that game for sure.
Yeah.
Like I loved it. I was a big fan of that game. So I will say that. I don't miss the video gaming. I do. There's just much of the games where they're at now. Like even you guys were talking about that Unreal thing. Just watching that made me want to play a video game. I was like, oh man, it'd be fun to play a game like that again. It'd be really a lot of fun for me.
Totally, but life gets in the way. There's only so much time in a day.
It's no excuse.
Yeah, newbie questions. Ryan on? Go for it, man. Please do. And somebody was saying that the YouTube stopped working, the YouTube connection on the stream. Hopefully that comes back. You can also tune in on Twitch and Facebook, correct?
YouTube. Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of chainmail on her, right? Because that's what she's. I don't know why I decided to do her, because chainmail is obviously so much fun.
Ryan is asking, after you finish the model, what we use to create topology. Good question. So for me, ZBrushMesher is going to be the way to go for topology, just for the low base. If I was going to say send this to game asset or something else, something like this, because it's low poly, you could easily use ZSphere Topo. If you're going to do something more complex, there's plenty of great topology tools out there. Somebody was mentioning Topo Gun 3, Maya Squad Draw, those kinds of tools a lot of people use. But for me, I'm able to get this. This is my blockout phase for the stream, but for the body, I never actually repurposed the head, but I was able to get this body with a really nice clean low base, clean edge loops, all with ZBrushMesher. And it's, to me, this is, if I don't have to spend time doing topology, I'm not gonna, because it's so much extra work and time for repurposing. But a lot of these other parts and pieces, like I'm actually making with Clean Topo. So I'm using extract and ZBrushMesher to repurpose and rebuild these surfaces. So any extracted piece, easy things that you can do, like something like this, where you have a part like this. If I go, say I'll split off these little bolts here, image, just this piece alone, you get polygroups. Right? We could just try it, go to Geo, ZBrushMesher. I could tell it to keep those groups, set that target to say 5. And with these clean extractions, when you have nice clean surfaces like this, almost every time I can get ZBrushMesher to give me that perfect edge loop that I can then go Z model on top of. All right, so now I get a clean edge loop. I even have one here on the top. So if I wanted to go in with, say, Z model brush, do extrude, poly loop, get myself a nice little edge loop there, I can do that. And this is without having to do any retopo. So a lot of this stuff, I'll use ZBrushMesher first. And if I really need to go in by hand, I'll use ZSphere Topo to start off with. YouTube says the video was blocked for copyright issues.
Oh.
Know that they've been ramping up their copyright.
Then it's probably one, either the Care Bears or Mad Max.
Gotta be.
Obviously, it's one of the two. Yeah, just let us have fun.
As far as I know, in terms of doing it for creative educational purposes, we're within our absolute rights to make something. Not selling anything. It's really just for fun.
Yeah, well, we are streaming. We're streaming on our Twitch channel, so you can go to Twitch TV. You can also go to ZBrushLIVE.com. I think we're still using Twitch on there, so you should be fine. Let me double check that. Yeah, so you can go to ZBrushLIVE.com and you can just watch us there as well, and all the same chat and all the same stuff is coming through. So there you go. There's a link to that, and then you can go to our Twitch channel or go on our Facebook as well. So there's those other locations. So luckily we do that. Luckily we stream it out to multiple locations.
Yeah, I'll have to keep tabs on that for the next one, since we do want to use images for reference and things like that.
It's funny that they're doing this, because when you did your mashup with like Blade Runner and Super Mario, like they didn't stop it.
I know,
like,
it's I don't know
why all
what's
of a sudden,
what.
you know what? We don't like what you were doing.
Yeah.
Came and knocked it. Okay, Hasbro owns, I think, the rights, if I remember right, to Care Bears.
Do they? I didn't know it was Hasbro.
I think it's Hasbro. I could be wrong.
That sounds about
Don't
right.
quote me on it. I don't remember.
They own so much now. Doing so much now. They're making so many different IPs. It's great.
I don't remember for sure who owns what anymore. It's all the same now. Let's see. I want to go a little bit lighter with the mail. I think maybe I went too many chain mails. Probably should have went smaller. Oh wow.
Dafu was asking, or was mentioning, the straw poll is supposed to appear every 10 minutes. It doesn't look like it has.
I blame Kingsley. ABBK.
I'm sure there's something wrong with that service.
Oh, here, I just put the link in there. Let us know if that works for you guys.
Soft edges.
Yeah. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. I don't know why that song's in my head right now.
Sunshine, maybe?
What? I have no idea. I should probably stop saying that, because that's also going to affect us.
Don't start singing popular songs, Paul. I know it's your favorite thing to do.
It is my fave.
All right, so I want to do these tubes. And these tubes have to connect to this little oxygen bag here.
All right, now for the fun. Let the fun begin.
I'm going to do the old belt trick.
The old trick. Being random. Be random. Did it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Long. I think it's a little too long. Stylized, so it's going to be a little bigger. Oh no! It says for the straw poll, you get to choose two, but you can only actually pick one. Okay, well then, if you can only pick one, then in this case, just vote for your favorite, and we'll pick the top two favorited topics there. And also, if you guys have suggestions for future streams, just any topics, ideas that you have, throw them in the chat, and we'll throw those on the list so we can
Completely ignore them.
Yeah, so we'll completely ignore them. That one didn't quite work out. Make sure I go corner to corner.
All right, now for the fun part. Whoops, I want lasso. Sound effects, mandatory. Do you do sound effects?
Not that I know of.
That's a no.
Not that I know of. I mean, I could. You never know. I don't record myself, really. If anybody listens to my streams, you guys tell me.
I want to get some sound effects going in this. I want to put sound effects inside of ZBrush.
I know. You've been saying that for years.
You know, it's not going to ever happen.
Pew pew pew.
There you see. Welcome to it. For those of you watching online, go ahead, sound effect it up too if you want.
Whoop.
I won't judge. I won't judge you. Owen might, but I won't.
This is a perfect Mad Max tube that exists right in ZBrush.
Perfect. Right. I need to go now and clean up this one. Yeah, there. Happy Logic. So you said movies. You couldn't name the top 5. You can't name a couple off the top of your head. Like, hey, this is a movie you would put on and just constantly watch over and over.
Oh, I mean, I could name them. It's just ranking them I find that to be incredibly difficult because I love so many movies. It depends on the mood that I'm in at the time, you know?
Almost favorite movie, everybody, is actually The Notebook.
I was going to say Fast and the Furious, but okay. You know, Notebook's up there. No.
Fast and the Furious is your favorite movie?
No, and of course not. But I do enjoy.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Fast and the Furious.
I do enjoy ridiculous movies. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, well, that, my friend, is very true. You do enjoy ridiculous movies.
I think it's fun to watch stuff that even if I'm not. You guys make fun of me because I think you think that I actually think they're good movies. I know they're bad movies. You can't watch like flawless and amazing movies all the time. Otherwise, you just like your tolerance is so high.
Flawless and amazing movie.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I don't know. I just find that
I like
it's
a
not
good
fun.
B movie. Okay, but those are called B movies, which the '80s has a bunch of B movies, and like Robot Jocks for me, 1989 is one of the best. For me, B movies got great, but it's a B movie, but it's a fun movie to go watch.
Yeah,
for sure. Or you can even say The Last Starfighter.
Oh, dude,
which I don't know if I would put it in that class of the B movies.
It's actually a pretty fun movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah,
I want to watch that movie, but I can't find it anywhere streaming, and I'm too cheap now to purchase movies. I refuse to purchase movies now. I won't do it.
When I was in film school, a bunch of my school buddies, we had a class project, and we collaborated to make an animated short of The Last Starfighter. It's so much fun.
Do you know how important that movie is to all of us, right? Like everybody knows why that movie is actually super important to every single one of us. Does anybody know? For 4 million points, does anybody know
4 million
why
points?
That movie is important?
Hold on.
I like to do a point system. I like to do a point system in my streams. So it really motivates everybody. Okay, it means absolutely nothing, but you know what? Everyone's excited to get points. Okay.
What are we? Is there like a store that we can go at the end and buy stuff?
Yeah, you're gonna go to the Gaboury store and you're gonna get something special and nice. You don't worry.
All right.
Okay?
Cool, man.
It's gonna be fantastic.
Like it.
So I don't know if anybody knows this, but The Last Starfighter, why it's very important to us, that's the first movie where a spaceship was completely CG and it was all CG space shots. That was never done before until that movie. So that ship is 100% CG, and obviously, if you go rewatch it, you can clearly see the space shots are very comical because, when he's flying around the land, it's just literally like a noise that's really just traditional noise, simple noise that's being repeated thousands of times, and it's like just a brown shade tone, and that's it. So, but that's an important movie. It's just like, unfortunately, in 2000, for most of you, Phantom Menace is actually one of the most important Star Wars movies of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say,
gave you everything we watch now. It did. So you hate him, but you should love him. Jar Jar Binks, first fully CG character as a main character in a movie that actors actually interacted with. That was the base level. Then that everything we do now.
Yeah. To your point, that is exactly why I do love those movies.
Yeah. So a question came through for me because I was doing my chainmail. So yeah, I'm just turning this into a nano. So this is my chainmail piece. So it's just toruses or what you want to call these rings that I got set up so that when I repeat them, so i.e., okay, these will repeat multiple directions. So if I do say like this, right, and then I repeat, and then now I go this direction with the repeat, right? You can see the chainmail I get, right? The only thing I don't like what I did with my Care Bear, I think the chainmail is too dense. I should have went with less dense chainmail, but it's too late now. I got to live with my dreams. Okay, so all I'm doing here is it's a nano. So you got to first pick this up as a subdivision level. As a subdivision level, as an insert mesh. Okay, so you click down here, insert mesh brush, down here at the bottom. Okay, which also going to be found up here in the brush palette in the create. You're going to hit insert mesh brush. Okay, and then I'm going to say new. And then now you got to go back to this thing and say create a nano mesh. Nano. Nano, name not Super Mario Brother World. I just did.
That's the Bowser level.
Is Bowser level? No.
Pretty sure that's the Flaming Castle levels when you're going through the Flaming Castle.
No. It's
Underwater?
World 1, level 2 of the original Super Mario Bros. When he falls into the blue world. Nano. Go watch the very beginning of that. The only reason why I can remember this, and I will never forget it for the rest of my life until I pass away and I die. We were in Missouri as a family, visiting our other section of our family, the entire family for Christmas, right? And my cousin got Nintendo. Right? And this is probably like 84, like 85, I want to say. So it's the hype of Nintendo, right? And then, of course, us kids, that's it. We did nothing but play Nintendo the entire time. And I remember my grandmother sleeping on the couch, or trying to sleep on the couch, and she just gets up and goes, "Oh my God, this is it. I can't stand it anymore. All I hear is nano." And then she redid the Super Mario Brothers.
She knew it
that world to a T, because we just kept dying, and so she just kept hearing it over and over and over. I can't take it. Take this thing somewhere else.
That's too funny.
That's why I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. Like, I wouldn't expect any of you guys to remember. Mario's is freaking huge. But for me, that's a great moment for myself and my grandmother, who I was very close to my grandmother. Okay, so now that I have an intern nano, all it does is creates a new Z modeler brush. And now I just say all polygons. And then what's going to be key is you want polygons to be the same size, right? Because it's going to be easier for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same size, because nano mesh it's not using the polygon size. You can use the polygon size. So all I've done is drawn this out, and then over here in nano, I've actually just turn off the placement, and now you can see I get that. So really, my mesh is a cylinder right now, is actually my mesh, and the nanos are instances. So this allows me to rotate things different directions. So obviously for this, I want this rotated at 90 degrees, and then now I just need to find the right size to make this look like chainmail. And then there you go. Then you have your chainmail. That's it. That's all I did. Wasn't anything fancy. It was just using the nanos and making a mesh. So what that mesh you're going to make is going to be important, because that's what you're throwing your nanos, nano on. Right? So that's what I did for her. Does that make sense?
The chainmail is nice. That's a great technique.
Yeah, it's working, I say. So actually, here, you know what? Let's use this one now. I'm gonna, why not? Let's append this one that I just made and put it on her wrist.
You do you, man. It's Saturday. It's your world.
I'm living in the world that is Saturday. I'll just sing my own songs. That way we don't get cut off anywhere.
It really helps my concentration.
You don't what? Really?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Well, you're welcome. I'm here for you. I'm here for you, Saul. Just so you know. Do. All right, and let's get rid of some of this.
I remember this is something I use all the time. I have to throw a shout out to Andrew Cause for this, but it's something that I knew was there. But if you remember, before we were doing the podcasts and the ZBrushLIVE stuff, we tried to do a show called Channel Z.
Yeah.
And he was one of our guests, our test guests, and he did a little demo, and he was saying that his biggest tip was the move brush, holding the Alt key and dragging left and right to pull the surface outwards based on the surface normals. And that, to me, I always remember when he said that, and I was like, yeah, I never actually used that too much. And ever since then, I started doing it. And I find just so like when you have a mesh intersecting with another surface, you want to pull it out, or you want to just like pull out a part of the surface and not have to rotate the camera. It's such a nice little thing to have control over. I love it so much.
Do you use the shift version? Do you use the shift key with that? The feature for the shift key?
Sometimes I do. Yeah, definitely. That's also fantastic too.
Yeah, I'll use that from time to time. You know what my new favorite move brush is, and I think it's just now because of the way I work. I like being non-destructive. So in essence, I can always go like this right now is a non-destructive workflow for me. I've got these chain mails, and I can always, like I'm doing right now, I'm editing a cylinder. I'm not actually editing the chainmail. So I can turn off this, and now I'm just looking at the cylinder. So for me, I like that a lot. But when I'm working, I want to have that freedom as much as possible. So because I'm doing that a lot, the move topological for me has become a big one. I find myself using that more and more and more and more.
Yeah, no, move topological is one that I remember using a lot more years ago, and I agree. I don't use that one as much as I probably should, because it does save you so much of that destructive, like moving the topology around and breaking the edge flow, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love it. It's become one of my faves.
I think I offset with that because for me, I've married myself to knowing the brush hotkeys. So move brush is BMV, right?
Yeah.
BMV, BST, BCB, switching back and forth to like clay buildup brush, clay tubes, move. So I've married myself to the move brush, and what I do to offset is I just do a really, really, really big move brush. So I destroy less, but it is slightly destructive. It is kind of changing the thickness. Like I'm doing it right now, actually. Now that you're bringing it up, I'm like, yeah, I am kind of changing that a little bit.
I love that you, me, and Solomon used the phrase married.
Maybe I picked it up from you guys.
Maybe I say that all the time. It's like because that's my non. I don't want to get married to the decision. I want to be able to change things around, right? Mm-hmm. So I say that all the time, and I heard Druss saying it in his last stream quite a bit. I'm like, now you're saying it a lot. I'm like,
we might have picked that up from you, PG.
Maybe, I don't know. I say it a lot. Like, I don't want to be married to my decision right now. I want freedom.
I want to be free. Oh, that's great.
So that's funny. Go figure.
So this,
I'm not going to take credit for it. I'm definitely going to take for the crease Paul Gaboury, though. Darn it, I'm going to take credit for that button. That's for sure.
Well, as you should.
I'm going to take credit for that. Like no one's business. You just sit back and relax on that one. Let's see. How many do I want? Let's go 10.
Joe Mena's in the house. How you doing,
Joe?
Joe?
Mena in the house. What up, Mena? Love me some Mena.
Love me some Mena. Just doing.
I don't know why I said that, Joe Mena. Just go with it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's deflate this a little bit now. It's a little too much going on there. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Making the earrings. Never thought I'd be doing Tina Turner.
Never thought I'd be doing
with Care Bears. With Care Bears.
One thing I love about this theme so much is it's just coming up with two ridiculous things to mash up and trying to make something is fun. So much fun.
Right.
Like in Immortan Joe, he's got this transparent little chest vest, and he's got all these metals, and he even has like a little computer chip just, jammed onto the surface there. And I was thinking, instead of doing metals, all the Care Bears have their own symbol. So I might do like metals that are like just silly shapes, like a cupcake with a birthday candle and a star and a 4-leaf clover, and the sun. Grumpy Bear's got like a cloud that's raining hearts on his chest. Maybe I should do that.
Oh yeah, I remember him. I think I had him as a child. I want to say that was my Care Bear, one of my Care Bears that I had as a child.
Grumpy Bear?
I'm trying to remember what Care Bear I had. I did have a Care Bear. I have no problem admitting that. Okay, I'm a child of the '80s. I had a Care Bear. Of course, I got it as a gift. It wasn't something I ran to the store. Let's be honest.
No, of course not, Paul. Nobody would ever say that.
You stop making fun of me. What did I say? Saul makes fun of me all the time, people. Just stop making fun of me.
I'm so mean at the office.
Guys, I just have to close my door at the office because I just got to avoid Saul as much as I can. Makes me cry at night, and I taste salt in the morning. It's just really bad. Okay? With my pillow, I wake up just full of salt. My daughter comes and goes, "Why is it so salty in here? What's going on?"
It's true. All true.
Oh, it's all very true.
True story.
This has been kind of fun, you know, doing something different, just chilling, talking, sculpting.
I love it. This is a blast.
Yes, I am married to the phrase as well. So someone said that in the comments, asked if I'm married to the phrase. Pretty much am. Yeah, I am. I have no problem admitting that. I am married to the phrase. Where are my ears?
Puns out here. Puns on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon for us.
The ZBrush Clubhouse. Good name. I'm happy with the name. I thought that's a fun name that we came up with.
It was. It took us a while to come up with a good name. Oh,
Yeah.
double extract.
Oh yeah, Tina Turner ears. I'm gonna go super insane with this. The earrings. Go real big. Now I don't know. Now it's looking a little bit more like Princess Leia. But who cares? Maybe I won't go so extreme.
Princess Leia is cool. I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's just Star Wars has been done so often, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars was one of the categories we had, but we'll see what everybody wants to do.
Right. So. Okay, let's do some fun here now. Let's have a little. Why did I decide to do her? I will never know. Why do I want to do her? Okay, so let's put. Need her head. Do a little maskaroo here. A little masky-roos.
This is going to be the old vest and copy of
the old. So the old vest, you're saying, huh? The old vest.
Old vest. The old 1-2.
The old 1-2 vest. Like it. What do you got? Where are you at? You are so. Oh yeah, you're doing a little. See, that's some fun stuff right there.
Trying to get to the little medallions. He's got these really cool chains and things. That's all I want to start getting into the details. I never got to that when I was testing the other night.
We have no idea why YouTube took the video down. I don't get it.
As far as we know right now, I think we believe it's something to do with copyright issues, maybe showing images.
But we do that all. I was showing Gremlins all day yesterday.
Yeah, they seem to have some things will be flagged more than others. But if anything, what we could do is edit our content so we can replay this later.
I don't know why. It's annoying. It's obviously something. It's somebody working on Saturday, and they're upset that they're working on Saturday, so they're coming to mess with us. Oh yeah, you guys are now going to stream this. But it's not an algorithm. It's actually somebody at the YouTube office going, nope, I don't think so. I have power today, Saturday.
That must be it.
Well, okay, just go with it, even if it's not it. Let's see. Let me make sure I don't have double on. Okay, I don't have double on. Okay, her hair is kind of like a sandy blondie white, I guess. So we'll go with like a brown tone here in the beginning. Yeah, let's go maybe a little darker. And the tips, let's do more whitish tips. And then less of the. Oh, gosh, I can't get it out of my head.
Oh, you could think it was your grandma.
Sorry, Graham. Oh, Lord. Great memories. That was a fun trip for the family.
So great.
I loved it. I'm going with this. That's what I'm going with. Oh, add some more segments.
Dougie gave us a shout out. He said, nice work, both of you. Thanks, Dougie. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dougie. I'm trying here. I accept this hair. Okay, now let's go make some more longer hair. Yeah. You're gonna have that in your head for the rest of the weekend. By the way, now you're welcome.
Actually,
you're welcome for that gift.
Yes, I am.
You're welcome for that gift.
I've already been in my other stream. I've been trying to finish the Blade Runner and Luigi or Super Mario combo.
Yes.
Super Mario World's been fresh in my mind for a while, and I just bought a Nintendo Switch to pass the time on the weekends. So a lot of
Why am I not surprised?
I never thought I would buy a Switch, but it is so much fun.
Yeah. Did you get sucked in by Kyle and Kingsley, or you just
no? It was just my girlfriend and I, like in the apartment all the last month and a half, 2 months. Which we've watched about as many things as we can watch. There's only so many hours a day that you can go for a run, work out, that kind of stuff. It's like eventually you just need something else to do.
Sure, I get you.
It's too much fun. It's been getting pretty heated playing Mario Party.
Oh yeah, listen, Nintendo nailed it, man. It's all about play, right?
I love it.
For them, they nailed it. Like,
oh, totally.
They're not forget the graphics. We're just gonna make the play just addicting.
Huh.
I think they've done an amazing job with that, and they've stayed true to that. I think very well.
I agree.
I do have an emulator. I was playing Mario Brothers the other day.
Oh yeah.
When I say the other day, 2 months ago.
6 years ago.
So that was happening.
Arm gauntlets going here.
I'm just gonna go ahead and accept that hairdo.
0.0.
You accept that hair from her.
Rui said, "Learn a new language." That is a very efficient and productive idea.
Listen, that's too. Come on, that's being too productive. All right, that's like saying we should be reading books. Oh boy, reading books.
I've been trying to read every night, but I find it it's tough, but it's a good therapy for sure. And I tried to learn Spanish. I took a little trip to South America a couple years ago and tried to learn Spanish then. And it is I got good maybe years worth of time invested, but it's so much time and practice. It's the practice that you need. You need to be with someone that you can speak that language with constantly for it to stay.
Gotta just watch shows from that language, because I know that's how a lot of artists I speak to that are from different parts of the world. That's how they learn English. They watch like TV shows, and then they're also picking up on a little bit of the slang that we have in English. I think is probably one of the hardest languages to learn. Honestly.
Oh yeah.
English is crazy. Okay.
That insert mesh brush.
You get that insert mesh brush.
This is one of the reasons why I love ZBrush so much. I can take this thing down to 1, keep groups, get those nice clean edge loops. Pro 4210 says English is easy.
It is.
Play video games in that language. Now you're speaking my language. Now we're talking. See, the thing is I'd like to spend more time coding, learning a different language. That's a whole nother thing.
Oh, look at you, overachiever. Coding. I used to be able to do some code, but I don't know. Me, I'm just trying to find time for at least do some artwork, really, honestly.
Yeah.
For myself. And figuring out. I think it's picking projects that you'll enjoy and you'll have fun. I think that's why I went with the Gremlin. I just have always loved Gremlins. I loved that movie. I still remember watching that movie as a kid, hiding underneath my bed, keeping the lights on.
Mm-hmm. Hiding underneath your bed. Stuck that one.
No, that movie never. You know what? That movie didn't actually scare me. And now that I think about it, like I remember watching Aliens with my dad, and I was probably only like maybe 10. I'm like, what is this? This is amazing. But if you think about it, I probably would not let. I don't know if I would let my daughter watch that movie right now.
Oh,
when she's that age. When she's that age.
I think that's a little too young. No.
Well, yeah. Well, my dad and I, we watch movies a lot. And we used to go to these things people called Blockbuster. So you used to go to a store.
I don't know what you're.
You used to go to a store.
You
get
in another language, Paul?
VHS cassette. Look, do you even remember? Were you even alive for the beta VHS war?
What is this VHS you speak of? I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth.
I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. So the difference between Dynamesh and Sculptress Pro is Dynamesh is keeping equally distributed polygons across the entire mesh at all times. So when you're pulling on something, you're destroying the mesh, you can retopologize on the fly. Then ZBrush will just retopologize only that sections that you've kind of been messing around with, but make sure everything is equally distributed. Sculptress Pro is actually adding triangles as you sculpt. So it doesn't touch anything else of the mesh. It only touches where you sculpt. So I do Betamax. I do a combination of both for myself. I don't know about you, Saul, your workflow now that we have both those features.
What was the question? Sorry,
They're asking what the difference was between Dynamesh and Sculptress.
Oh yes, yeah. For me, it really depends on the scenario. A lot of times I find myself using Dynamesh, but for me, that's just because I've trained myself to sculpt in a way where I want to be able to add the shape and form and work the surface and remesh it when I choose to. Whereas Sculptors Pro it's just a different way of working. To me, I see Sculptors Pro as I think just one step closer to real clay, where you're just adding stuff to it as you go along. It's just a slightly different frame of thinking, I think. But each one has its benefits, you know. To be able to take one shape and turn it into something completely different and pull it around and like detach things. Like one of the things I love about Sculptors Pro is just this alone. Like if I go in and I can just take a surface, so grab a clay brush or something like that, stretch this thing out, and with Sculptors Pro on, if I just go really big, to be able to do this alone to separate shells, that to me is huge. I love stuff like this. So it depends on the design. If it serves that kind of design, you want to make like water droplets or stuff like that, I think it's fantastic. But I bounce around back and forth. I think I spend more time with Dynamesh, but I think that's just based on repetition of sculpting and using and being at Pixologic for this long and using Dynamesh since the beginning. I think that's why I just kind of stick to my workflows.
Nice.
Oh, that's interesting.
What did you do? It's a boot.
It's Das Boot.
Nah, Daisuke, you're in here. What's going on, Mr. Daisuke?
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you doing? Just doing some Care Bear Mad Maxing over here.
Rogue Bear, you're saying you just graduated from art school recently and had a difficult time breaking into the industry, spending time in your quarantine learning Python and C++. Very nice. You're going to break into tech. The tech artist that's a very lucrative and fantastic direction to go. I think that's a smart move.
Yeah, I want to have my daughter learn code.
You gotta.
I think it'd be something good for her to learn for sure.
Daisuke is enjoying his green tea. Very nice.
Green tea in it. I know she looks like behind the camera is like, I don't know.
She makes that sound effect.
I don't know. Let's I'm gonna throw some makeup on her face now. Why not? Let's get a little crazy in here. Up in this let's throw a little more painteroo on here.
Painteroo?
Painteroo in it. She's got eyeshadow on. Yeah. If we're going Mad Max, let's go Mad Max.
You're gonna do it.
So here's a great example for Sculptors Pro for me. So when I'm painting this little black line, right, especially if I want to go smaller and smaller and smaller, you might not get the line that you want. So this is where I think Sculptors Pro is pretty amazing, right? You can throw on Sculptors Pro mode, and then now you're going to get even a more smooth stroke. She's looking scary.
As she should.
As she should. Let's give her a little thicker on the top. Oh man, give him some makeup.
Let's see what am I missing.
Happy little makeup.
Oh yeah, he needs some straps for this crazy mask here.
Bring some colors in the list. Let's bring a little bit of color into her life. I'm gonna stick with the a little bit also because we both got rainbows involved. I don't need Sculptures Pro for this part. Throw a red in there.
Somebody suggested a Fonzie bear. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Happy
Teddy Ruxpin. Teddy Ruxpin, people. Who remembers that?
That one's before my time. What's Teddy Ruxpin?
Teddy Ruxpin was a talking bear in the 80s that was for children, and he would talk to you, and he'd have books. And you would go through the books, and he'd kind of read the books to you as well.
Oh.
In essence. And then you'd have lesson plans as a child with him. He was huge, man. He was like the Elmo of the 80s for a while.
Okay.
Like you couldn't get one. It was tough to get one. Right? So, but I did love me some. Yeah, I did. My cousin had a Teddy Ruxpin. I never got one. But my cousin got one.
I remember that name now.
Yeah, if you put that in Google, you'll probably recognize him the minute you look at the picture.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
I'm trying to remember the toys. Like the earliest toy I can remember having was a what was it called? Creepy crawlers? Creepy crawler kit?
Creepy crawlers? Creepy crawlers?
Creepy crawlers.
Oh,
Did you ever see those? It was
Mm-hmm.
like you remember the Easy Bake Oven?
Yeah, sure. My daughter has one, and it's completely changed now. It's not like what it was when they first came out with it.
Yeah, okay.
It's not the same.
So it was like a Easy Bake Oven, but it was for boys, and it was like a mold. It basically had a little molding kit, but you can mold these gels and dyes and make your own little like bugs, and you put them in the oven and you bake them. So you take this liquid form and it turned into like these little jelly. I can't remember if you could eat them or not. They might have been edible. It was so crazy. But I had this little oven. That's like, I remember that being one of the earliest toys.
For you?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm still a kid at heart. You know, that's the one thing that's fun to having a kid. You get to play with some toys, and I've got an excuse. Right? So, which is bad. I'm like, and my wife's like, she doesn't need any more toys. That's for me. What are you talking about?
Pro 4210 says, so when I was younger, I played with wooden blocks. And actually on that topic, another one I remember was Lincoln Logs. Lincoln Logs were too much fun. And then Connects came out, and that pretty much changed my whole world.
Yeah. That I think those are really good toys where you got to build something.
Yeah.
Like that. I try to do that a lot with my daughter, is activity-based stuff that makes her have to make something. I think you just take away so much from that as a kid trying to learn things, I think. So I really like doing that with her. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I connect the
dots. I play with blocks. I play with blocks too.
Like Lincoln Logs?
I mean, because who was it that they played with wooden blocks?
It was Pro.
I did too. It's funny to see, you got to think about it as a child and you go back and think about the things you play with. Some of the stuff was just like a box, right?
Yeah.
Like your parents spent $100 on the toy and you're like, this box is cool. And you get in the box and you color it up and you're just messing with the box more than you're messing with the toy.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, you could do a lot with the box. Forts.
So many activities.
Forts. My family called me the duct tape king. Because I'd go everywhere with a roll of duct tape, and we'd love to just like kit bash stuff together. I think I honestly connect the dots to becoming a 3D artist and working in this industry to the kinds of toys that I played with. I really do. I think that had a huge impact on why I love to make stuff with digital tools now. It's like this is just more creative freedom to do it in a different way.
Yeah, I drew a lot when I was a kid. That was
Same.
my drawing. I don't know how good it was, but I drew a lot.
Oh, I'm sure it was fantastic then. I don't
Well,
spend
you're
nearly
nice.
as much time as I used to, if at all.
Yeah, drawing is. Yeah, I don't get that. I would like to. That would be really cool to do some more drawing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody, how are you guys enjoying our Clubhouse stream? This is the first time we've ever tried this, streaming two of us at the same time, seeing how that goes. Is everyone having fun and enjoying this, or are you just like, whatever? We'll take feedback and ignore it. You don't like that?
I love the honesty. All questions must be submitted in writing. I just watched Willy Wonka last night, and I love all of his.
Oh my God! I just watched Willy Wonka with my daughter like 2 days. My wife put it on, and it was on Lola. I mean, my daughter.
That's so great. I love all of his comments when they're trying to ask him questions. He's like,
Yeah.
all questions must be submitted in writing.
Yeah.
So great.
There's so many things that he did in that movie. God, I miss him. He was so good.
Oh, I know. I was just saying that last night.
Yeah, that he just did in that movie. That was just like, God, it's so on point. Like I love Johnny as an actor too, but no, you can't touch. You can't touch. No touches.
Oh, it's not.
Did.
No
It's
disrespect to any actor, or Johnny Depp is amazing in the things that he does. But if you just, Gene Wilder was just such a unique personality in that time period that doesn't really. I was asking my girlfriend this, like, who could you compare in this day and age that was so unique and prolific? Like you could say a Johnny Depp is that kind of unique, but not to the scope that in that time period. Like there was really nothing like him on screen.
Richard Pryor and Casino here with the movie they did.
He talks or
watch that movie over and over and over again. And then, of course, watched Goonies over and over again as much as I could.
Oh yeah,
I made my mom rent that multiple times. I rented it, and they're like, "Mom, call him. I need it longer. Give that rental place a call for me." They ain't getting it.
I do miss.
They ain't getting it.
I'll be honest. I do miss going to the store and renting movies. I was kidding with you before. I do remember VHS's Paul. So
Yeah.
Hopefully you didn't take that one to heart.
No. I know. We're just having fun.
But it was. Oh yeah, I missed that so much. The thrill of getting in the car and going to the store to rent a movie was so exciting.
We did it every Saturday at my dad's house. Like that was our thing. Pretty much almost every Saturday, we would go rent a movie.
Great. I think if I had to say which movie from the ages of 8 to 12 that I rented most, my cousin and I were obsessed with. This is the 90s, so karate was in. Karate was big, and I think we watched Jackie Chan movies like 100 times each. We would rent a Jackie Chan movie every weekend.
Stay firm with it.
Oh yeah, we were diehards. Loved it. It looks like Inspire said you love the stream. Nothing better than sculpt and listening to you guys. That's really great to hear. Glad we're not driving you guys crazy. The Nerd was saying that the resolution is down. Okay, Rui's down with Jackie Chan.
We can switch to our individual screens if you guys. So if there's something you want to see that myself or Solomon doing, we can switch to full screens. We're only going to be streaming probably for a little bit longer though. You think it was Twitch? That darn Twitch.
Yeah, that's
it. The streaming services really don't want us to stream the Clubhouse tonight.
Seriously. Second favorite, Three Ninjas was the next one. That came later. I was introduced to karate. Karate was big in the 80s, and then the 90s was.
Listen, karate was big in the 80s, buddy. Karate Kid, don't you forget it.
Karate Kid, exactly. And then Karate Kid transitioned into Jackie Chan was really, I think, Jackie Chan,
Yeah.
Jet Li,
Yeah.
those guys changed the industry. And then you get Three Ninjas in the 90s, which was, of course, huge for me and my friends. I loved me some Three Ninjas. Three Ninjas Kick Back. Loved it.
Man. Yeah, those were the days.
They really.
Those were simpler times.
My girlfriend and I were having this conversation last night about we were watching Willy Wonka, and I love those movies because I can go back and I don't necessarily look at it and I don't compare it to the modern age. I just look at it as it's a timepiece. You look at the achievements that they were able to, the things that they were able to achieve in that time period with that technology, and you have to just pay respect to it. But of course, movies have gotten so much better. We don't necessarily see it as such because our tolerance has gone up so much. In my opinion, I think that our expectations are higher now. So you can't.
That we know so much more to how the movies are being done. So we have a little bit different expectations, I think, now for movies as well. It's tough as a movie maker, you know. And then there's times where like I don't know why that movie is so popular, and sometimes I'm like, why? And then there's times like, why didn't this movie land? Like for you, like Mirage, we were talking about Blade Runner, dude. The newest Blade Runner 2049 was the best movie for me in 2017.
Oh, easily, it's the best movie I've seen in a long time.
But it didn't do well, and then there were a lot of people that didn't like it.
I know,
which is understandable. But I'm like, God, how did you not like that? It was so good. I didn't even notice that I was in there for 3 hours watching it because it's just. I love Denny though. I think Denny is a great director.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think Blade Runner at the end of it, since we're talking about Blade Runner, I think that it ended up having the same thing happened to the original Blade Runner. That it will be one of those cult favorites that people will look back on and go, that was a really spectacular movie. It's just this generation doesn't really know Blade Runner, just like the last one didn't. And it takes time, I think, for people to adjust and adapt. This generation will, learn to appreciate it, at least for the cinematography alone. I mean, that movie was spectacular in terms of visuals.
Okay, now mine's looking scary. There we go.
Let me just see what you got going on over there. I didn't even notice you did go the full tune route, going the full NPR route.
Yeah. I'm just throwing a little something stuff on here now.
I love it.
I'll add my flavor.
That's great.
Kind of flavor. Oh boy. That's fun. Then just mess around with this idea of this theme and see what you can do with it.
It looks like we got some shout outs for 2049.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Kotao, if I'm saying that correctly, I hope. Yeah, it is a shame that it didn't perform at the box office. Yeah, and now they did the original. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Dune as well. Yes, Dune is another classic. That's one of those that one. I think it could be done better. Honestly, I think in that time period they did a really fantastic job. But the way that they told stories in that era, I think we've improved on storytelling. I think in the modern age, in terms of, I think it can be done right, much better in today's day and age. Paul, you may
what?
You may disagree. I know that you love the arcing in the 80s, like that style that they used to skip over a lot of things. There was a lot of information that was assumed in movies made, in the 70s and 80s that you had to just kind of know. And nowadays, it's like we need to know the backstory and the history and the lore and all this stuff. So it takes extra time and effort. But Dune's one of those that just has so much of a rich history, and characters and their backstories and everything. I felt like the original Dune was almost like for a minute there, it was like a documentary. Like they're explaining the characters and like, when's the last time you saw the original Dune, Paul?
Oh, it's been too long. I can't even think when the last time I saw the original Dune.
First 45 minutes is like it's like the scene in the Lord of the Rings when they have like the person like monologuing, like describing the characters. It's like that for like quite a while. Still love
Lord of the Rings. How many of you have seen the anime version of Lord of the Rings?
Oh, the animated was really good. I only saw it once.
Yeah, you like the anime? I don't even remember it. I'd have to go back and rewatch the anime one.
I loved that era of animated films like Fire and Ice, the Frank Frazetta like style. I loved Fire and Ice. that was such a great inspiration for me. That era of animated films. I think it was the same artists or the same team that did Fire and Ice, and maybe not. Could be wrong.
I'm gonna go throw on a little Sculptures Pro here. Gosh bless you, Sculptures Pro. I'm gonna give her a little tattoo. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
The Lynch version got stuck with a runtime limit that the director didn't feel was anywhere near enough to tell that story. Oh wow! I remember watching it. It was maybe a documentary, maybe something on the internet, maybe YouTube.
Documentary on what?
The Lynch version that never was it never released, or it was never released in the theaters? Maybe like a cut of it exists somewhere. This belt has got to be modified.
Super rough tattoo here. Yeah. Sculptures Pro at its finest right now. So this is a great example. I know people were asking of where I would use Sculptures Pro instead of just me dividing up. I'm being lazy and using Sculptures Pro to get a little tattoo here. 2 men enter.
Nice.
God, I love Thunderdome. It was so good. Have you ever watched the original? Because it's like,
yeah, I don't. The original to me was they hadn't really fleshed out the whole concept, but when you get
it's crazy to watch.
It's almost
with the film speed up that they did in it, and then
yeah,
it's like it's out there. I'm like, holy moly! And you gotta look. This is the 70s,
right? Yeah, the first one I feel like they figured it out with Mad Max Road Warrior, the second one, right?
Oh yeah. Road Warrior was great. I love that one.
That was the one where they're fighting over water.
Yeah, he's in the little itty bitty, in essence, out in the desert in the makeshift town.
Yeah, that was the one that like it identified the style. Like the character was, I think, the character was more interesting because he lost his family, so he's pretty upset and he wants revenge, and he's kind of like just kind of given up. So it's a little bit more interesting. Whereas the first one, he's kind of just a family man, and it's tragic, how he loses his family, and then you kind of have this thing to attach to. I thought that was a really cool part of the story.
Yeah. Two men enter, 1 man leaves. Master Blaster.
It's great. Kotao was saying it was released, but in producer's cut, no director's cut. Oh, gas. Ruby called it. It was for gas. Yeah, that's what it was. They're fighting over gas.
All right, we are coming up close to being a finished stream here. Where are you at with yours? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. I wasn't able to get through the whole build. Obviously, today I kind of went through, and my test build I got to about here, not including the character. So this is about where I was. Here's like the final.
Pretty dope. I like it. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks, man.
So, yeah, what are those people that are in here? What do you guys think about this Clubhouse streaming? You guys have been enjoying this? Because obviously we'd like to know to continue this or not.
Yeah, what's the general consensus? Do you guys think we should keep doing this? You guys like the ZBrush mashups with multiple Pixologic developers? Just imagine all 4 of us, or maybe 2 different, so we do different combinations. I think that could be really fun.
Yeah, we could do 4. It's possible to do 4.
I think that'd be fun. That way, if there are questions and things, we can field those collectively and be able to show a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. Reaper said loves it. We appreciate all of you guys' feedback. Thank you so much. And thanks for sticking in.
Who's it?
Sculptor said it's like a smaller scaled sculpt off. Where's Jessica? Yeah, maybe we could get. She could be a fun one to have on as just a guest artist. I mean, she's a ZBrush artist. She knows how to use it.
Jessica Drew. Yeah. I gotta just quickly go at this tattoo.
Oh, what happened to this belt?
Ah.
I heard saying try StreamYards next.
Do what?
Try
Oh,
StreamYards.
StreamYards?
Is that a service?
I don't know.
Bigger.
First stream you caught live, huh? Well, welcome.
Nice.
This is also the first stream we've ever done, 2 of us at the same time. We usually don't do that. Oh, I love it. I put the tattoos on our shoulders.
That's awesome. That's
I put 2 men enter on one arm,
the loops
and
around
then
here.
1 man leaves on the other arm. Oh, lordy, lordy.
Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to do. Was I got to do in. He's got the old text. Let's go to. What is his catchphrase in the movie? Mediocre.
Oh, I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched that too. That movie. It's been a while. It's been a minute, for sure.
Okay, let's go with.
Yeah, it's hard to read the interface, but that's why we also made some full screen ones. Right, this is our first one, but as you can see, we had the ability to also go full screen, which should have allowed you to. I just didn't click through it a lot for this stream because I was just in the groove with this Care Bears Mad Max theme, right? So.
Mediocre. Yes. I love that catchphrase so much that it's just the language in the movie where they have this like a broken English. English is transitioned from one thing to another. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Or it'll just be instead of mediocre, it's just grumpy.
You've been watching the my hard surface spaceship streams. All right, part 3. Well, let us know if you need anything. So for me, if you guys, what I obviously in that stream too, I'm gonna put my ZBrush Central username, which is just Pixo Paul. If you guys put that, I'll get an email from you if you're posting on ZBrush Central, and then I can go take a look at your work. And then, of course, here is my email address as well. So there you go. So I'd love to see what you're doing with that. I'd really love for you to post on ZBrush Central so I can jump in there and see what you're doing. And if you have questions, it's a good way for me to answer questions for you, just jumping on your stream and answering questions and sharing links there. That's a great way. And that way everyone can learn from it as well. You've got the better proportion. My Care Bear is, the proportions are not very good at all.
Yeah, well, there's only so much time in the day. I cheated.
Too chubby.
No,
all right.
Fun. This is great. That looks awesome. Yeah. That chainmail is really great. BT Alter, if you want to see the type real quick, I'll show you. So I went into Z plugin, open up text 3D here. And what it does is it replaces, to make the text, it replaces whatever the selected mesh is. So I went over to Polymesh Star. And you go in here. It's going to start with the default type font, so you can just go in and do new text. And I typed in all caps and click enter, and it's going to go through and generate that text. Now, once it's made, you have the font style here. So this is just using your system fonts installed, just like Photoshop and everything else. You can scroll through and choose, or what I was doing was just clicking the arrow to cycle through the different fonts in there, and it generates a 3-dimensional piece for that. Once you have that piece, you'll see it makes a subtool here, and I just appended that into the scene.
Yeah, and you can also load a font too, people. You can also import a font into the system as well.
So if you want to make graphics, if you have an SVG file, you can create a new SVG. So it doesn't necessarily have to be text. It could be a graphic or a logo that you want to get in extruded shape. You have different levels, so you can play around with the extrusion. If you increase that extrusion there, you can make that thicker. Some fonts will allow you to do the beveling system. You can go through and you can add a bevel. So it's going to go through and pretty much everything. Like you see, even this has a really complex shape, but it's giving a really nice, clean bevel. So you can adjust that on the fly, increase the resolution, these kinds of things.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out why YouTube said, no, not today.
Yeah, it must have been one of those images, I bet. I got my images and speed up.
That's the only thing I can think of. But like I said yesterday, I had gremlin all over the place. It was fine.
I don't know. Maybe it's based on date. Maybe because Gremlins are older enough. I'm using the newer movie. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun. It's been a good time, having some fun here, doing my Tina Turner Thunderdome.
Yeah, thanks again, you guys. BT Sculptor, thank you. Yeah, thank you for the great question. Glad to show that off. And everyone else, Paul and I will be streaming the schedules on ZBrushLIVE.com, so you can check out our streams if you don't watch them already. If you're a new viewer, if you're watching this on Instagram or anything like that, you can check out the Pixologic store, which let's go ahead and put that in the link here.
I made you full screen.
Okay. Putting this in the chat
so they can see that.
So store.pixologic.com. You can try ZBrush. There is a ZBrush trial, so you can actually try out the new version if you're just getting started. We also offer ZBrush Core, which is a light version. We'll also recommend, I'll just spam this to you guys too. Go to ZBrushCentral.com. Paul, myself, Dice was another one of our developers that's here in the chats today. Joseph and others.
On Monday.
He's streaming on Monday. So ZBrush Central's got all of the recent updates. If any of us are streaming, Joseph's doing a collaboration stream with Proco, which is going really, really well. It's an amazing stream. You could check all that stuff out there. And yeah, we'll be here on ZBrush Live. So don't forget to sign up for ZBC if you haven't already. And we thank you guys for tuning in.
Show the ZBrush Live calendar too, so that they can see that, because that's important, because you guys can actually get email reminders and even add it to your Google Calendars, or if you're a Mac user, your iCals. I'm streaming again next Friday, which is a Gremlin project I'm working on. Saul, you're going to be streaming.
I will. I'll be on the 29th, I believe. So you're next Friday, the 22nd. Here's Paul, 11 to 1. So we have a new calendar system. You can go to ZBrushLIVE.com. It'll take you to Pixologic.com and give you this link, which I'll paste here in the chat just in case. But yeah, new calendar system, which is really awesome. So you can actually check out the days, which days you guys are. A lot of us are streaming regularly at specific times. So if you've been tuning in, we're always going to be streaming on those times. And if anything changes, it'll be updated here. But this is a great resource to check out if you're looking for more streams. If you're on Instagram and checking this out, that's a new thing we haven't been doing very often lately. So if you're tuning in on Instagram, you may not be aware of these things. So ZBrush Live is where we have all this stuff hosted.
Yeah, and then Tuesdays is our ZBrush Masters streams. You guys don't want to miss out on those. Those are a guest artist that we have. It's kind of almost like a mini ZBrush Summit in essence. So this Tuesday is going to be Maddie Spencer. So she'll be with Joseph Drust. So we always have one of us hosting, either myself, Joseph, or Solomon. So she's going to be this coming Tuesday, and Marco Plouffe is the following Tuesday. But I would recommend those. Those have been very awesome. We have past streams of those with Daniel Bell, Vichar, Gio Anektil, Marcel, and then also Paul Deasy. So those are also all on our YouTube channels as well. You can go rewatch those.
Yep. And I'll paste, just in case anyone wants to try ZBrush out, if you haven't used it before, here's a link to the ZBrush trial. And yeah, I think we covered everything. Is there anything else that we're missing you want to mention, Paul?
Well, the straw poll, again, we put it there real quick for you guys to be able to go and at this point go click your one item that you would want to go there, and then we can see the results. So right now, Space Marine and Steampunk are in the lead.
Yep.
No Muppets, Pokemon, or Doom.
I changed the spelling of origami. That should be updated. That is an error on my part. That should be an I. I do know how to spell origami. Yeah, I'm surprised there aren't getting any Muppets, huh? Muppets I thought would be fun.
When you say Paul who? Because I'm right here. Yeah. So you hit results, and you can see actually Solomon with what everyone's at. So you guys want to get that last minute vote in, so we can look at what the mashups will be. There you go. There's your results so far.
Vote Muppets. Oh, that'd be too much fun. Okay.
I was hoping a little bit for an origami and Ninja Turtles, to be all honest.
Yeah. I mean, I could do origami with any of these. I think that'd be a really fun challenge. All right, y'all. Well, then I think we're done for the day. We thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for sticking with us and having such great commentary in the chat. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you at the next Clubhouse. So keep an eye on that calendar that Solomon showed you for all of our streams and the next Clubhouse stream. Really appreciate you guys taking your Saturday, spending away from your family to be with Crazy Saul and Crazy Paul. It's been fun. This is the first time we've ever done something like this, actually, in all the streamings that we have done. We've never done a dual stream like this before. So whenever you guys see this Clubhouse now, that means it's a dual stream. So it could be Dice Game with Joseph Drust. It could be me and Dice, could be Solomon Dice, could be me and Joseph, it could be Solomon Joseph. So just keep an eye out for that. If this stream, looks like everyone was having fun, so we might continue doing these Clubhouse streams.
Totally.
Totes.
All
right, everyone, have a fantastic Saturday.
Bye. Happy ZBrush, everybody.
Have a delicious day. Have a wonderful weekend.
Cheers.
I'm Paul, and I'm out.